This week's Torah portion is Parshat Vayechi. Vayechi literally means to live. Chayim, chayut, life. One of the questions that I actually contemplated this past week, and it's a question that everyone contemplates consistently during the course of their life, is what is life? What is the purpose of life? What is worth living for? What am I living for ultimately? Yaakov Avinu lives a life that is arduous, that is painful, that is tragic and challenging. He has a tremendous amount of obstructions during the course of his life. He ends his life with his sons around his bed, recognizing that every single one of his children has a special attribute, quality that brings themselves to this world, that can add to improve to this world. He also recognizes that it's only when he brings all of these qualities together and brings them around his bedside, reminding them that when you unite and when you recognize that each person brings something else to the table, all of those attributes combine into one greatness, into one great strength that can form ultimately a nation. Yaakov Avinu at the beginning of his life or the beginning of his relationship with his sons does not understand that. It is only at the end of his life that he begins to contemplate this message. And ultimately, Yaakov reminds us that chayut, chayim, life, is about what we transmit to our children, what we transmit to each and every one of someone who will transmit that message further in their own right, in their own way, with their own power, and with their own characteristics. Ultimately, Chazal say that Yaakov Avinu lo met. Yaakov never died. What does this mean? It doesn't really make sense. And what it means is that the moment that one can assure a legacy, that one can transmit that legacy to future generations, essentially when those generations carry over that message further, and when they perpetuate that message further, then the person who gave that message to begin with never dies. They continue to resonate. They continue to be with you consistently from generation to generation. Dor lador yishabach ma'asecha. And that is why Chazal also say in the Gemara that when someone repeats over the Torah or the message of someone else who had died, the person who had passed on from this world, siftotav midavavot bakever, his lips will be moving in the burial place. What does this mean? It is symbolic that when we transmit messages, when we speak about the Torah or important messages or important transmissions that someone might have given us in their life, and we transmit it to other people, even when the person is long gone, they continue to live. They live through their legacy. They live through that which they transmitted to others. They live through the significance of what they give over to us in order to enhance our lives while we remain alive until, too, we depart from this world and we transmit those messages further. This is the message that we learn from this week's Parsha. And indeed, this is what we have to understand and appreciate. When I ask myself, what is the purpose of life? Ultimately, I remind myself, the purpose of our life is to transmit messages. I transmit and try to transmit the messages of Gila, dear Gila. Even though she is gone physically, I believe that her message resounds of empathy, consideration, sensitivity to others, love and compassionate, not being judgmental to others as well. And this message continues to be transmitted via our organization and our life's work in her memory to others. That is what it means to live. I imagine that even after she is gone physically and she's not with us now, siftotav midovavot bakever, her lips continue to move in her burial place as we continue to transmit her messages in the place where we find ourselves still physically alive. Let us hope and pray and let us embrace that message and understand and look around us. Collect all of our children, all of our grandchildren, gather them around our bedside and remind ourselves that every single member of our family brings something unique to our large family as a nation. That every single person in this nation has a purpose, resonates with an ideal, an ideology, and a characteristic, an attribute that indeed can enhance ourselves as individuals and ourselves as one nation. This is a message that we need to embrace. This is the Torah way, it is the Jewish way, and ultimately it is the Gila way. Shabbat Shalom.